We'll dive into that Western Michigan matchup in a moment, but right now we'll welcome in Mike Robinson, the sideline reporter on the Rocket Radio Network. Mike Rob, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
We'll get to the Broncos. Let's talk about this game against San Jose State. When you got two solid group of five programs going head-to-head, anything can happen. Rockets, they found a way to win. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Find a way to win in college football is always the hardest thing to do. That's why coaches get fired and the carousel is always moving around. But the big thing is for the Rockets, this is what they needed. They needed to get gut punched. They needed to find a game where they're behind early in the season, and they battled back and came back even after having a deflect of only 3 minutes of offense in the first half.
The offense really struggled, and part of that is what you alluded to, that San Jose State played keep away. We've seen this happen a couple different times in college football this year. Was that just simply the Rockets just struggled to get into a groove offensively, or were there some bigger issues that the Trojans maybe exploited?
You know what? I think the Trojans just came out, they played fast, and the quarterback actually saved them a lot using his legs and just throwing the ball. I mean, I think he's like an 8th-year college player, so he's a little bit older, so he's a veteran. He knows what's going on. They did play keep away, and they did the right thing. The Rockets, when they had their chances, they couldn't get first downs. They got snowed out, but the defense was the topic of conversation because they stepped up to the plate and they held, they bent, and they did not break.
Great to see Chris McDonald with the pick six. Of course, McDonald had fantastic defense on that 4th down conversion against Illinois. You give a play like that, that can get in your head. It did not get into his head, and they needed him against San Jose State. He came through big time.
He's a big-time player, and that whole secondary is just big time. And they came out trying Quinyon Mitchell. You go out throwing the ball over to your All-American cornerback, and you're seeing them just test the secondary. They're saying, hey, we're going to go at your strength. And that actually turned to their disadvantage later in the game. So having guys being able to bounce back, fight back. Chris McDonald is a special player, and so is Ronald Delancey because he stepped up and made a lot of plays too.
Injuries are starting to affect the Rockets, particularly in the secondary.
Yeah, the injury bug is just something that's going to happen. And it's a long road for the Rockets as they continue to, travel down to their bye week. So now they're going to have to rely on that depth. You're starting to see young guys like Braden Alls, local kid, stepping out there in the secondary, getting big reps. Fuller has been doing a really good job. So the Rockets, they have the depth. And Corey Parker, he has the pedigree. So having a cornerback coach and a secondary coach that can step up and also develop these players, that's been everything.
Also a little banged up with the running back position, and that's allowed Penny Boone to really blossom. We've talked in the past about what Penny has did in the offseason to get ready, and he is performing, was the MAC West Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, that was a big honor for him because, with Jacquez Stewart out and Micah Kelly both, battling some injuries, this running back room is deep. Nate Cole has done a really good job, and so has the recruiting staff, of putting guys in there. Penny Boone transferring in, working on his diet, working his body right. He's looking really, really well. I mean, he ran that one guy over on the goal line. He didn't even need to do that, but that's just showing you that his finesse, his power, his skill is still there, but also looking at the guys behind him, they're ready and willing to go.
Rockets preseason pick to win the MAC West. Western Michigan, their first MAC opponent this week. They were not picked to finish high in the West, as you got a first-year head coach. Broncos off to a 1-2 start. Their only win was over an FCS opponent. On paper, Rockets should roll, but as we've learned in the last couple of years with Western Michigan and Toledo, you can never trust what you see on paper. It comes out of the field.
I mean, we're talking about MAC football. It's anybody's game. You never know. So you got to come out here and play because when you go to the MAC, everything kind of balances out. We've seen it last year. Rockets went on a skid towards the end of the year after they clinched the MAC West. You lost to Western Michigan in their final home game. You lost to Bowling Green. So there's something there. So you got to actually come out here and produce. We've had the road wins. I mean, we didn't have the road win this year. We're back at home, been doing pretty well. They got to step up and come out here ready to play.
3rd of 4 straight home games for the Toledo Rockets, so they've gotten into that groove in the Glass Bowl. What concerns you the most about the Broncos?
What concerns me the most is their lack of offense. If we let these guys get going, I think that's going to be a big problem. You got Sambucci, the nice receiver on the outside. Quarterback hasn't had that much success. I want to say he only completed about 6 of 14 passes last week. That's where we got to step up. We got to make sure the quarterback's not running, and if the quarterback run on us, we typically find some issues. But the big thing is this. We got to score points fast in a hurry.
One of the interesting things about the Mid-American Conference schedule, you start at so many different times. And so far this year, we've seen the Rockets play a night game. We've seen the Rockets play a 3:30 game, and now a 1:30 game. So they're bouncing all over the place, which is a good way to get prepared for what's going to come up in the last part of the season when you're playing all sorts of odd times.
And it's good for the fan base, be able to get the fans out on a bright day, and you can also have your evening available, so you get to kind of pick and choose when you want to go watch the Rockets play, although you should probably go see them every weekend at the Glass Bowl, right? That makes sense, right? But in general, I think Coach Candle and the staff, they prepare these guys to play, whether it's midnight, 2 a.m., 3 p.m., they're ready to just play football. And these guys are greased up and ready for this type of battle. You know, all summer long, they've been working and conditioning. Coach Brad Boucher does a really good job of preparing their bodies and their minds for them to be able to go out here and compete. So I don't really think the time of day matters unless it's just a casual fan.
Rockets have had great home games the last 2 weeks, great atmosphere at the Glass Bowl. We'll see if that carries over this coming Saturday. I want to thank our guest, Mike Robinson from the Rocket Radio Network. Mike Rob, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Mark.